Hello children, I hope you are going through the video that we have uploaded on gravitation. Now in this video, we are going to discuss some leftover topics which are crucial and important for you to understand. And today's topics we will be discussing will be the gravitational potential energy, gravitational potential, total energy of a satellite, and also escape velocity. Okay, so let's start with what exactly is gravitational potential energy. Gravitational potential energy, children, what is this energy? Let us understand it. Suppose I have a mass m1 out here, it is fixed, there is no other mass in the vicinity, so obviously this mass is not going to have any gravitational interaction with other bodies around it because there is nobody to interact with, but this mass m1 will have a gravitational field around it, which we have already discussed. Now suppose there is another body having mass m2. I am bringing from infinity. Now why I am using this term infinity? Because at infinity the gravitational field will disappear, meaning if I place m2 here and I place m2 at infinity, interaction will be how much? 0 according to Newton's law of gravitation. As I bring m2 towards, then after some time m2 will be entering the gravitational field of m1 and therefore it will start experiencing gravitational force. Clear? So initially m2 was located at infinity and I started from infinity and I brought it to a point P, located distance r, and in this process of bringing, certain amount of work has to be done. So children, this work which we are doing in order to bring this mass m2 from infinity to a given point in the gravitational field is actually known as gravitational potential energy. So what is gravitational potential energy? The amount of work which is done in order to bring a given body from infinity to a point in the gravitational field of another body. Okay, so let's write it down. Energy. So children, the amount of work done in order to bring a body from infinity to a given point in the gravitational field of another body is known as gravitational potential energy of the body. Clear? So let us imagine a situation in which these two masses m1 and m2, they are separated by a distance r. Okay? So how much the force acting between them? Force F is equal to G m1 m2 by r square. So children, remember, by this definition gravitational potential energy is equal to work done. So what I am trying to do is I am trying to calculate actually how much work I am doing. Clear? Now let us say that I am keeping m1 constant and m2 is being shifted by a distance dr. So if m2 moves by a distance dr, then how much the work done, children? Work done, you know, dw will be equal to f dr, right? Now put the value of f, g m1 m2 by r square dr. So children, this is the work done. Now this distance is actually a variable distance and accordingly the work will also be variable. Now initially this object m2 is located at infinity and finally it is located at what distance? R from m1. So I will be integrating both sides and I will be setting up limits. Integrating, children, if you integrate, the dw will be equal to minus g m1 m2 by r square dr. Let us set up the limits. Initially m2 was located at infinity, then how much was work done? 0. And finally it will located at distance r, so work done is how much you have? W. Clear? Integration of dw is w. So we get w minus g m1 m2 1 by r square dr infinity to r. Clear? So, this once I substitute the limits, W minus 0 minus G m1 m2, integration of 1 by r square is how much? Minus 1 by r infinity to r. Clear? If I integrate, I get not minus, okay. So, we set up the limits here. W becomes G m1 m2 minus 1 by r minus 1 by infinity, and children 1 by infinity is how much? 0. So, work done W becomes G m1 m2 into minus 1 by r. So, that means if m2 is brought from infinity and is finally located distance r from mass m1, then how much the work done here? W is equal to minus G m1 m2 by r. And children, by definition, this work done is stored as gravitational potential energy. And remember, this gravitational potential energy is always for a system of mass, is not for one single mass. Therefore, gravitational potential energy U equals to minus G m1 m2 by r. Clear? So, from this expression we understand this, that if m1 is kept fixed here, m2 is brought closer. If m2 is brought closer, then r will what? Decrease, and therefore potential energy will become more negative, means it will decrease. Now, if I take m2 away, then r will increase, u will become less negative, potential energy will increase. And if I take m2 away, so they located it finally at infinity, then the potential energy will be maximum. Clear? So, the negative sign of potential energy shows that when the masses will come closer, then the energy will decrease, when they will go away, energy will increase. Now, this should be kept in mind, and this is very important. Clear? So, potential energy for a system of two bodies is minus G m1 m2 by r. Often you have seen that we say that when an object is carried through a height h from the surface of earth, then its potential energy is mgh. We will be deducing that expression also by using this definition. And for earth, U will be minus G mass of earth into m by r. R is Re, radius of earth. Let us understand this. Let us write r first. R. If an object is placed, is located, this is m2, and m2 is equal to m, and this distance is r, this is mass of earth, then this is the potential energy. Now, potential energy is taken to be 0 on the surface of earth. On the surface of the reference value of potential energy on the surface of earth is, on the surface, U is equal to minus G MEM by R. And with respect to surface of earth, the potential energy will be 0 at what? Infinity. Okay? Because if I put here R is equal to infinity, then potential energy will be how much? A number divided by infinity will give you 0. Clear? So, in case of earth, we will be referring to potential energy on the surface of earth, and at infinity it will become 0. So, 0 potential energy will be taken at what? Infinity. Okay, children? So, we discussed what is gravitational potential energy. Okay? So, gravitational potential energy. Now, children, we are going to see gravitational potential of energy of a body having mass m at what height? H. Clear? Now, in case of earth, mass is me and all the energies are referred to with respect to the surface of earth. Clear? Now radius of earth is RE, this is center O, and an object of mass m is kept here. This mass is m. Now suppose I am carrying it upwards and finally the object is located here. At what height from the surface? H. And I want to calculate how much is the total potential energy of the body. Now potential energy of the body by definition is the amount of work done in order to what? Bring the body from one position into another in the gravitational field of another body. So I am basically shifting what? This mass small m, initially it is located at what distance? R, and finally at what distance? R plus H. Clear? So work done dW will be equal to F dr, and we know F G MEM by R square. Clear? dr, this is the value of F, where R is the variable distance. Clear? If we integrate both sides, integrate, then dW becomes G MEM by R square dr. Now the value of R is variable, initially it is on the surface. So on the surface it will be how much? RE, and height H if you see, then from the center it becomes how much here? This distance full will be taken, and how much is that? RE plus H. Okay, so I will be writing here RE plus H. Clear? Now this is 0 to W. So W is equal to, children, G MEM is taken outside, integration of 1 by R square, and this is from RE to RE plus H. Clear? I will let this RE little bit up so that you are not confused about the limits. Clear? Integration of 1 by R square is how much? Minus 1 by R. So W becomes G MEM minus 1 by R RE to RE plus H. Clear? And finally children, W becomes G MEM if we substitute 1 by RE. In fact, it will become, if we substitute the limits, minus 1 by RE plus minus 1 by RE plus H. Okay. Limits minus 1 by RE plus H minus 1 by RE. So children, how much do we get? We get G MEM. This is positive, so we will be writing first 1 by RE minus 1 by RE plus H. Now here I will use one trick. I will take 1 by RE outside as common. So if I take this outside, then what do I get? Work done W is equal to, we have G MEM by RE. So what is left here? 1 is left, 1 minus 1 by 1 plus H by RE. If I take 1 by RE common, then this is divided by RE. RE by RE is 1, 1 plus H by RE. Clear? Now I take this into numerator, G MEM by RE into 1 minus 1 plus H by RE raised to power minus 1. Now children, H is very small compared to 1. Here H is very small compared to RE. So H by RE will be definitely very less compared to 1. And then I will be using an approximation which you have done in binomial theorem, if you remember. 1 plus x to power n is equal to 1 plus nx. So making use of these two, I will get W is equal to G MEM by RE 1 minus H by RE. So children, if I open it, then 1 and 1 cancel out and this becomes plus. So I get W equals to G MEM by RE into H by RE. And RE into RE is how much? RE square. So it becomes G ME by RE square into M into H. And children, this expression is how much? Acceleration due towards gravity on the surface. So we get W is equal to G into mh, and work done is equal to the what? Potential energy. So what do we get? U is equal to mgh. So you may be asked to derive the potential energy of a mass which is carried through height h from the surface of earth using laws of gravitation, and this is how you are going to do it. You have already done this in work, power and energy by using very simple definition of work into displacement, assuming g is not changing over a small distance. So mg into h we have done, right? But this is a more elaborate derivation that we have had just now using the concept of the gravitational force U equals to mgh. Okay. Gravitational potential. Children, we discussed the concept of gravitational potential energy, and we said the amount of work which is done in order to bring a given mass from infinity to a given point in the gravitational field of another mass or another body is called gravitational potential energy, right? Now, gravitational potential in fact is a reduced form of basically the same definition. The work done in bringing a given mass. If I replace given mass by unit mass, then becomes gravitational potential, right? So gravitational potential at a given point in the gravitational field of another mass or another particle is defined as the amount of work done in order to bring a unit mass from infinity to a given point. Okay. Provided, see this field, the work you are doing is in the gravitational field of another mass. It is to be kept in mind. So, let us define amount of work done that point. Clear? So, amount of work done in order to bring a unit mass from infinity to a given point is known as gravitational potential at that point. So, gravitational potential, children, therefore, V is equal to work done by mass. Clear? V is equal to W by m. So, what will be its unit, children? Its unit will be joule per kilogram. Clear? Now, we will try to see what will be the gravitational potential due to mass m at distance r from it. We have, there is a mass m, clear, and because of this mass, I want to calculate the gravitational potential at distance r. So, what I will do here? I will put a small mass, that is what, m. I will find out how much the work done in order to bring it from infinity to the given point, and I will divide by what? I will divide by m. Clear? So, gravitational, when you calculate what will be gravitational potential due to mass m at what distance? R. Clear? So, we have already derived that work done, earlier we derived in the previous topic, W is equal to minus G m1 m2 by R, right? So m1 is capital M and m2 is what? Small m. So it becomes minus G m into small m by R. Did the work done. Therefore, gravitational potential children, V equals to W by m. Clear? And if I substitute the value of W, that is G capital M small m by R, then V becomes 1 by m into minus G capital M small m by R. Cancel out. So V becomes minus G m by R. So children, this is gravitational potential due to mass capital M at what distance? Small r from it. And gravitational potential again is negative, meaning at the point will come closer to the body, then the potential is going to decrease. So the significance of negative sign is can also be explained in terms of force. Negative sign is the force of attraction. You can justify that way also. When the bodies come closer, then the gravitational potential energy decreases, work done decreases, and also the gravitational potential also decreases. So you need to keep in mind that gravitational potential is a scalar quantity. It is not a vector quantity, not like the gravitational field, which is a vector quantity. So children, we discuss what is gravitational potential energy, right? We also discuss what is gravitational potential, right? Once you have done this, now we will proceed to find out discuss a very important topic, that is escape velocity. Okay, let's see it. Escape velocity. Ladies and gentlemen, what exactly is escape velocity? Let's talk about Earth. Suppose this is Earth. This is Earth, and I have a body of mass m out here, which is placed on the surface. Now I want to throw this body, like here I am in the classroom, I am standing, I take a piece of chalk, for example, like this one, and I throw it. I keep increasing the velocity and the body goes higher and higher. Right? But why it cannot escape Earth's gravity? Because whatever energy I am importing it, by giving it a velocity, as the body goes up, its kinetic energy is spent in doing work against Earth's gravitational pull. Clear? And the instant its kinetic energy is spent, it comes back to Earth. Now imagine a situation in which I give enough energy to this body in the form of kinetic energy, so that it is able to just cross Earth's gravity. Just cross. We are not bothered what will happen to the body after crossing. After crossing also, if it has enough energy, it will continue to move, or maybe it will stop after crossing Earth's gravity. That is not the concern. The concern is to cross Earth's gravity. And the problem in crossing Earth's gravity is, as the body flies up, its kinetic energy starts changing into what? Gravitational potential energy. And the instant its velocity becomes 0, Earth pulls it, because Earth force is constantly acting on it. Now the only way it can escape Earth's gravity is by crossing Earth's gravitational limits. Understood it? So what I will do is, I will say that this body will be able to cross Earth's gravity if its velocity just becomes 0 or remains greater than 0 after crossing infinity. After crossing what? Infinity. Here the object is at what distance? RE. And finally the object will be here somewhere at what? Infinite distance. Clear? Then the object will be able to cross its gravity if and only if its velocity does not become 0 before crossing its gravitational limits. Okay? So let us see what we can do. We will define therefore what is escape velocity. velocity, and we denote it by v. Clear? So let's see, the object is projected with the velocity v. Clear? So kinetic energy of the body K will be equal to half mv square. And what is potential energy on the surface of the earth? Potential energy of the body U is equal to minus G MEM by RE. Clear? So what will be total energy of the body? Therefore, total energy of the body E is equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy, and that is half mv square minus G MEM by R. Clear? Now the body will be able to cross Earth's gravity for crossing Earth's gravity E should be greater or equal to 0. Where the body will keep going up, its kinetic energy will be fast changing to potential energy. So total energy has to be positive, minimum 0. This shows that half mv square minus G MEM by RE should be greater or equal to 0. Minimum it can be 0, otherwise it should be positive. Positive to keep it moving. 0 means just after crossing Earth's gravity it will stop. We cancel out m, so we have v square by 2 minus GME by RE should be greater or equal to 0. So we conclude that v square by 2 should be greater or equal to GME by RE. If you solve, children, then v square will be greater or equal to 2 GME by RE. And if we take square root of both sides, then v will be greater or equal to 2 GME by RE. So in a limiting situation, we will take what sign? Equal to sign. Therefore, escape velocity for Earth v is equal to root over 2 G ME by RE. So we got a priced expression. We can see that escape velocity will not depend upon the mass of the body. You want to make an elephant escape from Earth's gravity or a kite escape from Earth's gravity, there will be no difference. It will only depend upon the mass of the body from which you want to escape. If you want to escape from Earth, then escape velocity will depend only upon mass of Earth. It is not going to depend on the mass of the body which is going to escape. Keep in mind. Similarly, if you want to escape from Moon, then the escape velocity, here we will be putting mass of Moon and we will be putting radius of Moon. Clear? We can modify this expression as you know already, but we know that GME is equal to G into RE square. If I substitute this value here, then we get V is equal to root over 2 GRE square by RE, and from here we come across this beautiful formula root over 2 G RE. So children, this is escape velocity for Earth, root 2 G RE. We can actually calculate how much will that work out to be. Let's see here. If we put the value, then V will be equal to 2, G is 9.8, radius of Earth is 64 into 10 to the power 5. If I solve all this, I get 11,200 meter per second. okay, which is 11.2 kilometer per hour is equal, and this is kilometer per second, kilometer per hour. So you can understand that your baby in your hand and rocking the baby, and by mistake if you give this velocity 11.2 kilometer per second or 40,320 kilometer per hour, the child will fly away from your hand, will never return to your hand again. Okay. So make sure that you don't give this velocity. It is impossible to attain this velocity though unless you have special boosters and a special propulsion system. This is how the satellites are launched with velocities of this scale. Clear? So you understood what is escape velocity, and now often they ask you a question, why Earth has an atmosphere but Moon does not have an atmosphere? Let's see. Earth is very large and therefore it has more mass. With a greater mass, escape velocity is also very large. Now, because of this large velocity, the molecules of gas surrounding air, they are not able to gain this velocity on their own, because the sunlight falls and heats up the molecules and they gain what? Thermal velocity, which we have done, root 3 kT by m. Now, this velocity can never be anywhere near the escape velocity. So, the molecules which are present, the air molecules which are present, all kind of molecules which are present in Earth's atmosphere, they are not able to escape because escape velocity of Earth is large due to larger gravity of Earth. Whereas in case of Moon, the gravity is very small, Moon is small, mass of the Moon is small, and therefore the escape velocity is also small. Now, since escape velocity is small, then molecules which were once present in the atmosphere of Moon, they gain thermal energy, their velocities became equal to or greater than the escape velocity, and therefore slowly they escape from Moon's what? Gravitational field. Therefore, Moon has no atmosphere. So, in a nutshell, Earth has atmosphere because it has a large escape velocity, and therefore molecules cannot escape from its what? Surface. Whereas Moon has no atmosphere because it has small escape velocity, and gas molecules present in Moon's atmosphere, they gain thermal energy, and the velocity became equal to or greater than the escape velocity, hence they escape from Moon's what? Gravity. So, Moon has no atmosphere. Okay. So, we discuss what is escape velocity. Okay. Now, children, there is a specific relation between orbital velocity and escape velocity. Escape velocity we already got what? Root 2 GRE. Now, orbital velocity we know is root over GRE. So, if I divide VE by VO, then what do I get? V by VO, if I divide, I get root 2, or V is equal to root 2 VO. Now, sometimes for short questions this becomes very handy. Escape velocity is root 2 times the orbital velocity. Okay, children? Geostationary satellites. Geostationary satellite is also called geosynchronous satellite. Geosynchronous satellite. Now, what is geostationary satellite or geosynchronous satellite? Imagine a train is moving and the two friends sitting across each other on the opposite what? Seats, and they look at each other. What happens to them? They appear to be stationary with respect to each other. Now, this is the concept on which a geostationary satellite is based. Now, this is Earth. Okay. Earth is rotating what is what? Axis. I know this rotation is from west to east. This is how the Earth is rotating. Clear? Now, imagine a situation, and this is equatorial plane and this is polar plane. Now, imagine a situation in which I want to observe this place P on Earth. So, what do? Is I launch a satellite here, which is placed in such a manner that the satellite is revolving in the same direction as the earth is revolving, number one. In same sense of rotation, west to east, earth rotates from west to east, is also going from west to east. And it has same time period as earth. Earth has a time period of how much? 24 hours. Every 24 hours makes one complete cycle. So, in 24 hours the satellite also makes one complete cycle. Then what will happen? Then if you have a telescope and you look at the satellite S out here, you will find the satellite is not moving with respect to you. And if somebody looks with the help of a telescope at point P on earth, he will find a point P is also stationary, not moving. So, this is the concept of geostationary satellite or geosynchronous satellites. Meaning, if a satellite is stationary with respect to earth, then it is called what? Geostationary satellite. Clear? And then there are certain criteria for a satellite to be geostationary satellite. The first criteria is that it should be rotating from west to east, means it should have same sense of rotation as earth. Time period of the satellite should be same as that of earth, and also it should be placed in the equatorial plane of earth. Okay. So, let us define what is a geostationary satellite. So, if a satellite appears to be stationary with respect to earth, it is called geostationary satellite. Clear? Now, what are the conditions that make it geostationary? Conditions are, number one, the equatorial plane is replaced in the equatorial plane, and its height should be 36,000 kilometers from the surface of earth. So, these are the conditions. It should be rotating from west to east, the same sense of rotation as that of earth. Its period of rotation should be same around that of earth, which is roughly 24 hours. Clear? You should replace the equatorial plane of earth, and it should be at a height of 36,000 kilometers. Now, this height actually can be calculated. This can be part of a question asked to you. We can easily calculate. We did now, if you remember. If you remember, we did this expression time period of satellite which is revolving around earth, right? If I square both sides, children, then t square will be 4 pi square into re plus h whole cube divided by GME. And children, if you solve for re plus h whole cube, then re plus h whole cube becomes GME into t square upon 4 pi square. Okay. If I take cube root of both sides, then re plus h will be, children, GME into t square upon 4 pi square cube root. And then from here h will be GM into t square by 4 pi square to the power 1 by 3 minus Re. Children, everything is known out here. G is universal constant gravitation, mass of earth, time period which is 24 hours or 86,400 seconds. Pi we already know, radius of earth we already know, 64 kilometers. If we solve everything, then this height h comes to be nearly 36,000 kilometers. So, actually this is the height of stationary geostationary satellite from the surface of earth. Okay.